The honourable member for Halifax Needham.
Mr. Speaker, my question is for the Minister responsible for housing. In my office, I have heard from people who have faced rent increases large enough to force them to move, only to learn afterwards that the landlord has turned their old home into a more profitable Airbnb. I hear from people looking for housing who are considering exorbitantly priced basement apartments in neighbourhoods where they have never considered living before because Airbnbs have eaten into the residential rental stock. And in conversations with municipal leaders across the province, I've heard that tourism workers are having a hard time finding a place to live. It's clear to me that we have waited too long to regulate. Mr. Speaker, when will this government regulate short-term rentals and return some much-needed fairness to the housing market in Nova Scotia?
The Honourable Minister of Housing, Nova Scotia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for the question. Mr. Speaker, this government believes that every Nova Scotia deserves a safe and affordable place to call home. Mr. Speaker, as the member may be aware, and all members of this House, we just signed the National Housing Strategy off in August. It's worth more than $400 million in the next decade to this province, Mr. Speaker. We will continue to invest in a variety of ways to meet the housing needs of all Nova Scotians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Halifax Needham.
Mr. Speaker, none of those units through that National Housing Agreement are going to make a difference for families looking for housing now in our communities. Nova Scotians are in a housing crisis. Across the province, short-term rentals are one factor that has reduced the rental housing stock available for residents, for families, for our constituents. We need strong regulations to curb this impact on our communities so that Nova Scotians are still able to find a place to live that they can afford. Mr. Speaker, can the minister tell Nova Scotians how the impending regulations will bring properties back into the long-term rental market?
The Honourable Minister of Housing, Nova Scotia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The National Housing Strategy will indeed have a large impact on where we are going into the future. More than $400 million being invested. This year, the action plan alone, $88 million being invested between the two levels of government, with an additional $70 million being invested by the province alone. This will help more than 5,500 households in Nova Scotia, Mr. Speaker. Last year, more than 500 new rent supplements were assigned to individuals. We'll be talking about more of those in the coming years, and we'll be doing all we can to assist those right across this province looking for housing, Mr. Speaker.